we've seen a lot of contractors enter the area, coming in, soliciting business, and that there was a lot of damage, but we've been getting a lot of reports of contractors coming in, kind of high pressure sales approach, and trying to get the customer to get their repair their roof, and giving them some misinformation regarding insurance as well. That's been kind of a problem, and can be a problem for some if they rely upon this information. With the hail damage and wind and hail, you turn a claim into your home, it is going to count against you as a claim. Whether the carrier raises rates or not is dependent upon, well, the carrier itself, as well as your past loss history and what claims you've had and the frequency there. So it does go on your claims record. It does count against you, not only for that company, but for what's called a clue report, which is a database that all companies can pull from. So if you go from one carrier to the other,
so like a credit report,
like a credit report, exactly.
But for insurance
it'll
purposes,
show that you had losses. So the sales pitch has been, my understanding, that it won't count against you because this is an act of God. It's a storm event, and so you turn in a claim, it's not going to go count against you in a negative way. Well, that's not always true, and that's what we're seeing. Always check with your agent, one, for claims, and check that the contractor you're working with is reputable, and you can do to minimize there. There are things you can do to protect yourself from possible scams and that from contractors coming into the area. We've had instances of people just going door to door saying, hey, I replaced your neighbor's roof, I'm sure yours has damage too. If we can get up there and look at it, we can turn in a claim and get you on your way. Like, get up on the roof and guarantee they're going to find damage. It's just one of those red flag things that we kept hearing over and over again, so I checked into a little bit more. And found that there is certain contractors with Rock Springs addresses, they're not registered as a contractor in Rock Springs, and they may or may not be in Green River. And so we need to be aware of that and make sure that we're asking the proper questions. You can call your city departments. In the Rock Springs, it's Public Works and the Building Department. You call the city and departments in Green River and just see, are they a licensed contractor? Have they provided a proof of insurance and a valid address, and that to operate within the city limits is one thing. Check references, neighbors and that, and others, ask for references of the contractor, and request a certificate of insurance from that contractor. That will show that they are actually insured and who their coverage is provided by, what the limits are. And when it comes into a case of a contractor that's maybe just coming up here because we have a large amount of damage and then they're gone a month later when everything's done, you still have that certificate to know who the policy insurance was with, who the agent was, and if anything happens, you can't get a hold of that contractor, you at least have contact information for the insurance carrier if we have a claim. Get more than one estimate from a contractor. If you don't deal with just one, get multiple estimates for damage, and that the lowest bid isn't always the best. And then read everything before you sign it, and anything. There are instances of signing a blank form or not something that's completely filled out. There is some fraud that could potentially happen, and scams that have historically happened as I look online and to kind of do some research on this. Anything you sign, they can fill in some things later, so make sure you're keeping copies of everything and signing everything.
Maybe just
and reading everything.
Even if you just scanned it with your cell phone or something like that.
Take a picture, scan it, something, keep copies of everything, and don't get pressured into making a decision. Some of the complaints we've had there has been a lot of pressure to make a decision. Get it done now, winter's coming, or you need to get this done and it needs to be done this way. In the minutes the customer starts to question or hesitate is when the high pressure sales start to come on.
Sure.
And so we want to avoid that. When you start seeing that, that's when the red flags should start coming on.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you very much for the information, and I'm sure it'll be very helpful for folks. Thank you again.
Thank you.